What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. For today we have a dash cam, and I know dash cams are not that exciting, but if something like this happens, well, a dash cam can become your best friend very quickly. And if you're a driver, you know that happens quite often. If you don't have a dash cam in your car, I do suggest that you buy one because it's gonna save you money in the long run. Now you can buy some really cheap ones and you can buy some more expensive ones like this one. So this one is called the Vantrue N2 Pro. The reason why I wanted to review this one is the fact that we have two cameras. So we have one pointing in the front of the car and one pointing inside the car, and that could be very useful mostly if you're a cab driver, if you drive for Uber, or if you're like a bus driver or anything like that. So it's always good to see what happens behind you whenever you're driving. This one here is quite expensive. It costs somewhere around $200, and it really depends if you need that second camera, because if you don't need the second camera, you can just buy a cheaper one and it's gonna do the exact same thing. So when this records with both cameras, so the front and the back, the maximum resolution for both cameras is 1080p, so you cannot select another resolution. Now you can turn off the second camera, so the one that's filming behind you, and you can just use the front one, and if you use just one, the maximum resolution is 1440, but you can still select like 1080p at 60 frames per second. The camera itself, it's made out of this rubberized plastic and it doesn't feel cheap. It actually feels very nice and soft whenever you're touching it, but realistically you're not gonna touch the camera that often. On the back we have a 1.5 inches screen, but that's gonna be off most of the time anyways, and at the bottom we have some of the buttons so you can set the camera up and so on. The back camera has 4 infrared LEDs that will turn on or off depending on how much light you have in the car, but if you position the camera somewhere too close to your face, well, your face is gonna be way too bright and everything else is gonna be kind of dark. So try to position the camera somewhere further away from you so you don't get that effect from those LEDs. Moving to the left hand side of the camera, there we have a mini USB port, so you can plug that in for power, or if you want to connect the camera to your computer. And we also have a SD card slot and a HDMI port. Now this camera can take SD cards up to 64 gigs, and I've been using the same 64 gig SD card that I basically use for everything, and it does work very good. The suction cup that attaches to the windshield works great. I don't really have any complaints about it, and we also have the charging port on the side of the suction cup there. Now the camera can be easily removed from the suction cup, so you don't actually have to take the whole thing off, so you can just remove the camera by itself. You can also get another suction cup that has a built-in GPS unit, but that's another $20-30, and if you already spent $200 for this, I don't know if I want to spend another $30 so I can get the GPS unit. And for this price range, well, I was kind of expecting that the GPS unit would be included. Well, it's not. So the camera comes in a rather small box. Inside the box we'll find the camera. We also have the suction cup, the power adapter that has a very long cable, and another cable just in case you want to connect the camera to your computer. There is also a quick starting guide and the user manual, but realistically the camera is super easy to use, and you just plug it in and it works by itself, so you don't really need to change too much. Next, I'm going to show you some sample recordings that I've done during the day, and I'm going to show you some recordings done with the front and with the back. Now, I'm going to cut the sound for some of the recordings because there is some copyrighted music that I can't exactly play, and obviously whatever I was talking to whoever was in the car, that may not be appropriate for watching online. So let's check those out.
Head, no board, like the big thing. Look at these people. The one on the picture.
Well, I would just know to see it, but I don't know.
You see it.
So what you've seen was recorded in 1080p because I was using the front and the back cameras in the same time. So in my opinion they do look good for daytime recordings. So next we are going to check out some nighttime recordings again with the front and with the back, and I'm also going to show you how the camera looks if it's not placed so close in front of you. So let's check those out.
Searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. Let's jump in everybody. Let's spin it tonight.
So as you've seen, nighttime recordings are acceptable, but maybe not the best that I've seen, but good enough so you can actually see what's happening around you. Now, the camera itself, it's super easy to use. The camera's menu, it's divided in two sections. So we have the recording section and the system section. In the recording section, you can change the resolution, you can turn the gyro sensor on or off, and that's useful mostly if you get into like an accident or something like that. So if the camera senses some sudden movements, it will basically lock whatever recording it's happening at that time, so that file cannot be overwritten. So let's say that you get into a car accident and the car stays on and the camera keeps recording. If that file is saved, so it's locked, it cannot be overwritten by other files that are following. There is also a parking mode available, and basically the camera will record if it senses any movements. Now, to get that going, you have to keep the camera connected at all times. So you either connect this to like a power bank if you leave it in the car, or you have to have like a hardwired connection to your car's battery. So it really depends on your setup and on your car, of course. So there you have it, this is the Vantrue N2 Pro. So basically the main selling point for this camera is the second camera on it, so the one that records in the car, because that's something that we don't see every day. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.